Claire, can I confess something?
Absolutely.
There was a moment in my 40s, I mean, actually, even maybe still now, that I heard someone talking about like retirement planning and investing, and I immediately felt like I had missed some like secret class that everybody else attended, right? Like there's this adult handbook out there that talks all about investing, and maybe like mine got lost in the mail.
When people talk money, I just hear blah, blah, blah. I'm going to be honest, okay? It just,
Right.
I think it's something that a lot of women feel. I really do. I feel like money is difficult to talk about.
Yeah. Especially midlife.
Yeah. It's difficult to understand as well, all the things. Like I'll hear people talking about Roth IRAs. I can't even say it. Look, Roth IRAs,
Right.
index funds, net worth, compound growth. And then I'm like, wait, what should I already know? And did I miss my chance?
Yeah.
So I feel like you're not alone, Jen. I feel like it's a minefield out there.
It most certainly is.
Yeah.
So with that, welcome to Unravel and Uplift, the podcast where we unravel the messy, complicated, real parts of midlife
and uplift each other with honesty, perspective, and practical ways forward.
We are your hosts, Jen Mills and Claire Evans. Today, we are wrapping up part 2 of our Money Unraveled series. So last week, we dove into money and all of the things around it. And this week, we're going to dig a little bit deeper and talk about some life hacks around that. So today, we're tackling the question underneath that exhaustion. Is it too late? Like, here we are midlife. And if you are overwhelmed by some of those words or that financial language.
I am.
Yep, totally. Right. If you are, it's not too late for you. Like, yes, we all should have started earlier, but the best thing to do is start now. So it's not too late to invest. It's not too late to save.
So really the spoiler alert on this is, no, it's not too late.
Right.
But I think the reasons why women think it's too late or they don't put their heads there, pretty fascinating.
Yeah.
And honestly, a little heartbreaking too.
It is. Yeah. I think there's a lot of gender stereotypes around investing in finances. Like that's not for the girls.
Yeah.
You know? So and especially there wasn't as many resources out there. So that, I think that's part of that sadness that maybe many women are leave it to the men or, it's too late for me, but we're going to unravel that today and hopefully shed some light.
I think you touch on a really important component there. Like it's that myth that you should already know this. And I think there's a lot of shame for women financially of, I don't know. I should already know this. And they're two very different things.
Exactly.
They really are.
Yeah, totally. Because so many women are listening to this are really capable. Like they can do this. They've raised families, they've built careers, they've managed households, they are caring for aging parents, they've survived difficult situations. And yet when it comes to the conversation turning to investing, they suddenly feel like they're failing a test that they've never studied for.
Yeah. And I have to say, I'll put my hand up here. If someone casually mentions something like a Roth IRA, I think I have a high level understanding of what that is, but I wouldn't know what to do with it, and I think that's part of it is that admitting that you don't know something that everyone else around you seems to know about is almost like, oh, am I really stupid?
Right.
I don't think I'm a stupid individual, but when it comes to things like this, I'm not the smartest, because I just don't know.
It's deeply personal and you don't want to mess it up. Yeah. And we've all heard this Ponzi schemes and the bad things that could happen and financial pitfalls. So I think a lot of people are just like, oh, I'd rather, instead of like taking a dive into that at this age, maybe I just take a step back and ignore it. And because it's overwhelming.
Well, and also it's almost like there's so many different ever-changing terms. Like I remember someone saying crypto to me and I was like, what the heck is crypto?
Yeah.
And then you Google it and actually Google doesn't even help you understand crypto. It's like this, I know it's not, but to me, it's like this made up gobbledygooch that just exists in this whole universe that I
And
don't
there's always a hot
understand.
trend. But I think,
Yeah.
we had done a podcast once about working out and all the wellness
Yeah.
traps you can fall
Yeah.
into. I think when it comes to money smarts, that a lot of people think there's a secret and there's an easy way.
Yeah.
And there are some things that you can do, but there's a lot of basic principles that have been tried and true in managing your money and finances for years, but it seems too easy.
Yeah.
And so people are like, oh, that can't be the answer.
It's going to trip me up.
Right.
Yeah.
There must be another way. What's the secret? What's the inside track? Where that's not fun to talk about. People they want you to buy their book and, use all the resources, where the basic tried and true principles of investing, whether it's, basic investment funds or compound growth, that's what's going to help generate wealth and get you on track financially. So we'll get into that.
I know I like spending it.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
But I think, honestly, many women in our generation were taught how to balance a checkbook, budget, stretch a dollar, especially stretch a dollar, I feel.
Yes.
But not taught how to invest, build wealth, negotiate salaries, understand retirement. So let's stop pretending that this is a personal failure. It's often an exposure problem, not an intelligence problem.
Right. Yeah. There's just so much around women and money, right? And like you touched on a very good point about women don't like to ask for raises.
Yeah.
That to negotiate their salary. A lot of them will back off from that. Like they feel like they're lucky just to have a job. So we've got to turn the tables on that, ladies.
On that note, when there are people that I know, and I do know a few of you who are very good at like negotiating your salaries, I think you're like incredible. It's like, wow, look at that superpower.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a scary thing to do, right?
It is.
All right. So, we always talk about we're not the experts in this space.
We are not the experts. I mean, the expert is spending money.
Yes, very good at that.
Yeah.
But we wanted to tap into some books and resources that do offer credible advice to support the things that we're going to tell you today. So one of the first books that Claire and I dove into was a book by Morgan Housel, and she has a book called The Psychology of Money. So this is one of the books that really changed my perspective on investing and managing money. And what's interesting is her book really isn't about investing. It's about the human behavior around finances and money, which that core is usually a reflection of your behavior and how you deal with money. So it's about why smart people make bad money decisions, why average people sometimes build incredible wealth, why fear, comparison, ego, insecurity, and emotion often drive our financial choices more than spreadsheets ever will.
And what I loved about this book is that it helped me move away from anxiety and scarcity. I think many women, like myself, live in a constant state of, well, what if I don't have enough? What if I'm behind the eight ball? What if I made mistakes? I've made plenty of mistakes. Yeah. I've bought the things I really should not have bought. I've probably invested in things I really should not have invested in. What if everyone else knows something that I don't?
Yes.
And this book helps, I feel, to help you move forward towards something healthier, like enoughness. Yeah. I'm going to use that word, enough.
Yeah, I like that. I love that word. Because so much of midlife is realizing that chasing more doesn't automatically create peace, right? We've all been stuck up in that keeping up with the Joneses scenario. Sometimes peace comes from defining what enough looks like for you. So
that's so true. That's so true. Yeah, I feel like, one of the biggest lessons that I took away from this book was that money should help you sleep at night, not keep you awake. The goal isn't maximizing every dollar. The goal is creating a financial life that aligns with your values, priorities, goals, and comfort levels. I often, to put this in reality, I think of what this helped hone in for me with when I watch shows on HGTV, the people that are like relocating to an island.
Yes.
And it's interesting because someone's value of where they're living and their life and their goal on that island can be very different to the other person.
Yes.
And their spend and what they're looking for. So they can be exactly on the same island. I'll take Costa Rica, for example. One of them could be looking for a one single bed property, even though they've got lots of family. They're like, we're going to be outside. Our goal is to be outside, to be living by the beach. The others could be looking for a mansion It may just be one person living there, but that's because they want the space. So I feel like to me epitomizes this a
that's
little.
a good way to look at it. Yeah. Everybody has their own definition
Yeah.
of what that means to them. Yeah. That's a good point. And Morgan talks a lot about playing your own game, right? And honestly, that feels like an antidote to social media.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so social media makes us all feel behind constantly. And I'm going to say all, because if it doesn't, then you're very fortunate.
Yeah, it's a slippery slope.
It is. Like, oh, I retired at 42. How?
Right.
Tell me how. Someone just bought a lake house. I'd really like a lake house. Someone has a 7-figure portfolio. I wouldn't even know what that looks like.
Right.
Someone's traveling to Europe for 6 months. Well, I'm guilty of that one, but I think that's a good.
But I would see that one and be like, I want to go to Europe for 6 months.
But again, I think this also adds something real to this, in that I think I've mentioned before, I like to spend on travel. Okay, so it may look like it's super luxurious, but I'm really thrifty with travel. And it's something I have the knowledge behind doing. And I will happily share that travel knowledge with anyone. Please, someone, help me understand how I invest for my future.
Right.
We can swap. We can exchange.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, but you can get very guilty of comparing your life to somebody else's, right?
Yeah, and those highlight reels.
Right. Yeah. So Morgan's message is basically stop playing somebody else's money game, right? Don't fall down those social media traps, because their goals aren't your goals.
Yeah.
Their circumstances aren't your circumstances. Their values aren't your values.
And it really nicely ties actually to those goals. When we were asking you to set the goals before, setting your goal and sharing your goal helps that become alive. But remember, it's your goal, not someone else's.
Yeah.
I think also as women, we carry a lot of financial regret. We think, I should have started sooner. I should have saved more. I should know more by now. But Morgan reminds us very kindly that wealth isn't built through perfection. It's built through consistency and staying in the game long enough for compounding to do its own thing.
Yeah. So again, if you want to dig deeper into this, please go find Morgan's book. We'll link it in our show notes. And I think there's a lot of good nuggets within that.
Well, I think the biggest takeaway there is let's focus on your financial goal, not everyone else's, yours.
Yeah.
Okay. Another expert I absolutely love is Ramit Sethi. And honestly,
last week a little bit.
Yeah, we did, didn't we?
He's good.
And honestly, what I appreciate most about Ramit is that he makes money feel human, not intimidating, not shameful, not something only financial experts understand. That's my kind of language.
One of the things he talks about all the time is how people avoid their finances because they think it's too late. I've made many mistakes. I should have started years ago. And his response is basically, no, the biggest mistake is continuing to wait.
Yeah, I think that's a really powerful message for women in midlife, because I think we're carrying so much regret around money as we go through our midlife area. And I think one of Ramit's most famous ideas is the worst investment strategy is waiting for the perfect time. And honestly, that implies to investing, career changes, asking for a raise. Not asking for a raise. You can ask for a raise if you want to, but asking for a raise, starting a business, rebuilding after divorce. I mean, I think that's a real big one as well, is that when that money gets divided, feeling stuck.
Right.
You know, it's like
half of what you used to have.
Yeah.
And how do you rebudget that? How do you reshuffle?
Yeah.
Right. Not having that dual income. So waiting feels safe. Like, again, we talked about this in our first episodes about setting goals, like Claire touched on, is a lot of people don't start because it's overwhelming.
Yeah.
And instead of starting, they just look the other way and ignore it. So take the plunge.
You know what I'm going to say?
I know.
Microdoses. Microdose it.
Sometimes waiting is what's keeping us stuck.
Yeah. One thing that really stood out to me from both Ramit's book and the podcast is how often he talks about money avoidance. And I think women are especially vulnerable to this, not because we're irresponsible, but again, we're overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You know, we touched on how we're overwhelmed by everything that is going on in our life. This is another component, I think, that creates overwhelm.
Yeah.
We tell ourselves, I'll look next month. I'll deal with it later. I don't even want to know. It's almost burying your head in the sand feels like easier.
Yeah, for sure.
And what Ramit says is so simple but powerful. Clarity is almost always less scary than uncertainty.
Yeah, so true. That's a great line. Yeah.
Most people aren't afraid of their finances. They're afraid of the story they've created about their finances.
Yeah. One of the first exercises Ramit recommends is calculating your net worth. And before anybody starts sweating and getting nervous, right? This isn't about judgment. It's about awareness.
Facts over fear. I'm going to describe this as.
Yeah.
List everything you own. Now I'm the queen of lists.
Yes.
Okay. So you need to list your savings, your checking, retirement accounts, investments, home equity. Then list what you owe: credit cards, loans, mortgage balances. Subtract one from the other, and that's your starting point.
And that's the number. If that's not the number that you had hoped to see, right? That number can be scary. It doesn't mean that you're failing, right? It means that you finally know where you're standing.
Another exercise I love is reviewing the last 3 months of spending. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't start to feel guilty, but just to really understand yourself. You know, you touched on this last week, I think, about how you realized that you had subscriptions that you were not even aware of.
Yes.
And you know what? Don't feel guilty about that.
Yep.
Go, okay, this is an opportunity for me to do something about that and cancel it out.
Right. Curiosity over criticism. Yeah. Be kind.
So if we can try and look at spending in 3 categories: essentials, the things you genuinely need. And I'm going to take this to another step.
Body's cleanse.
I know.
Facial.
Well, I'm going to take this to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Okay, here we go. I know this is going back to my psychology days as a student, okay? But we have certain needs that no one can deny. Okay? Like, we need to be kept warm. We need to have food. We need to have water. Those kind of things are essentials. You know, let's really think about it. Going to the grocery store is essential. Right. Toilet paper is essential. You know, there are certain things that we have to have. Then there's the non-essentials, things that you enjoy and intentionally choose, as in, oh, I'm going to choose that bar of chocolate over the cheapest bar of chocolate because I enjoy the taste of that bar of chocolate. Right. Okay. Hidden leaks, the money that quietly disappears, subscriptions, streaming services, auto ships, apps, impulse Amazon purchases. Like we said last week, put it in your car for 24 to 48 hours and see if you still want it. Right.
Yeah. That skincare subscription that's still thriving while your skin remains confused. Yeah. I'm a junkie. I got all kinds of things in my cart that I'm like, oh, I should try that. Is that my next, empty promise in a bottle? Yeah. I mean, who knows, right?
And that's exactly what this is. Okay. Like, the goal isn't spending less. The goal is spending intentionally. I've got a good example here. So I'm going on a trip later this week and we've been told that we need to have bear spray. Okay. I cannot take bear spray on the plane because it's not TSA approved. And I don't even think I could put it in my luggage, even if I wanted to.
No, probably not.
It's not allowed. So I have 2 options when I get there: to either hire the bear spray or buy bear spray. Now, economically, it's probably more sound for me to buy the bear spray. However, I'm going home in a few days. Right. And I can't take this bear spray home. And hopefully I don't have to use the bear spray, right? So it makes sense on this occasion, I think, to hire the bear spray. Right. But it takes that rationale sometimes, I think, for you to like almost spell it all out to yourself of, okay, it seems like this is the most applicable way to do it. Maybe not.
Yeah. Folks, tune in to a future podcast where we're going to find out if Claire had to use her bear spray.
I hope I don't. I hope I don't.
Truly. Okay. Back to
yes, I hope I'm back here.
To wealth management.
So one of Ramit's best known frameworks is his conscious spending plan, a simple guideline: fixed costs of 50 to 60%, housing, transportation, insurance, and utilities. Investments, 10% plus. This is future you. Savings, 5 to 10%, emergency funds and short-term goals. And then guilt-free spending is 20 to 35%.
That's a bigger number than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Yeah.
So travel, dining out, coffee, shopping, experiences, things that make life enjoyable. Yeah. If you think about Starbucks in this, right? I love Starbucks, by the way. But if you think about Starbucks in this, okay, and this 20 to 35%, okay? So 7 days of the week, if you were to get Starbucks 1 or 2 days a week, you'd be in that 20 to 35%. Yeah. Getting it every day is 100%. So if you look at it that way,
Right.
kind of breaks it down.
Yeah. Yeah. Like not every day is necessary, but I mean, if we could just normalize guilt-free spending, because
Yeah,
I think as women, we desperately
me
need that. Like
too.
we talked about this last week. Like we need treats.
Hmm.
We need treats.
Yeah.
They make us feel good, but
But I
we
think,
just have to be
yeah.
aware of how far we're pushing that treat situation.
Well, and I think a budget shouldn't make you feel punished. It
Mhm.
should help you spend confidently. And I think we should all be aware that the budget can evolve.
Yes.
If I look at my budget when my kids, for example, were younger, and you were buying things like diapers and paying for childcare,
Mhm.
now the diapers and childcare have been replaced by car insurance and
Sports.
yeah, and kids eating out all the time as if they are a millionaire.
Higher end clothes and
Mhm.
shoes. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's an ever evolving thing and it's a good thing to revisit your budget
Yeah,
and
definitely.
think about it in the context you're actually living.
Yep.
Um, and this leads into my favorite Ramit concept, your rich life. He doesn't ask, how can you spend less? He asks, what does your ideal life look like? I would have a bit of a problem with this because I
Yeah.
think my ideal life probably looks very different.
Yeah, the
But anyway,
dreamer's dream.
yeah.
Yeah.
But maybe your rich life is traveling, helping your kids graduate debt free,
Mhm.
retiring comfortably, taking care of your parents, working less, having flexibility and peace of mind.
Yeah. Or maybe it's just simply that peace
Yeah.
that you're comfortable. You
Yeah.
can sleep at night, that you're not always worried about money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this one makes me laugh. This our featured expert now is Vivian Tu.
I love her. If you
Well,
don't follow her, she is Vivian Tu, your Wall Street girly is her
Mhm.
tagline, your rich BFF. And so she has several books that are
Yeah.
really great. I follow her. She has a podcast, which is great. She actually features a lot of beauty people, which I really tap into and how they started their
Yeah.
businesses. So I like that if you're into that. But she has a great Instagram too. So she has a lot of good nuggets. Yeah.
Well, just the fact well endowed, let's
Yeah,
just
that's
put it straight there,
That's her
okay?
latest book.
Well endowed. It's already got my attention. Once you've stopped avoiding your finances and started defining your rich life, the next questions become, how do I actually start investing? And that's where Vivian Tu comes in.
Yeah. The one thing I love about Vivian's new book, Well Endowed, is how approachable she makes investing. She reminds women that financial literacy isn't something you were born with, it's something that you learn.
Mm-hmm. And many women don't invest because they think, once I understand everything, then I'll start.
Mm-hmm. But Vivian's message is the opposite, right? You don't need to know everything before you begin. You learn by participating.
It's like
Go ahead,
it's a growth opportunity.
You must participate.
Yes, you must participate. And it's a growth opportunity. Like all of this is growing and learning.
Yeah. So one of the things that can be a really great hack for those that are intimidated by investing are these robo advisors. So the practical tip that Vivian talks about in this book is think of these robo advisors as a GPS version of investing.
Mm-hmm.
They ask you your age, your goals, the timeline that you're on, your comfort with risk, and then they built the investment strategy for you. So
great.
Yeah. So, and we'll get into some of the resources that these robo advisors are available, but this could be a great jumping off point if you are at a point that you're like, I'm too late. This can help you get started and figure out that roadmap.
It's almost like they're creating your route for you.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling them your end destination and the components in which you are getting there.
Yeah.
And they're building that route for you. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to turn the page here.
We are. Sort
of a new topic.
Yes.
Unravel.
Yeah. We're going to sit in this. Okay.
Breakups and financial
reinvention. Yeah. I think they all go hand in hand. Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's talk about the women who never planned to start over. The women rebuilding after divorce, separation, widowhood, job loss.
Mm-hmm. If that's you, please hear this. Starting over financially is not evidence that you failed. It's evidence that you're still writing your story.
And this may be controversial, but women spend years trying to save $5 while avoiding conversations that could earn them $50,000.
That is so true. Because when we talked about earlier, like as women, we know how to be thrifty. We can find a deal.
Yep.
Like we know the price. Like if I go to the grocery store and my husband goes with me, he's like, I cannot believe how much, XYZ is. And I'm like, oh no, but we can get it cheaper over here. Like we know how to find a deal.
We know how to thrift.
Yes. But it's just a shame that, we don't think about the other side of that because we can only cut our expenses so far,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Your earning potential has a much higher ceiling. So this is going to be interesting where we flip the script here. So think about other ways that you can earn income.
Mm-hmm.
It could be consulting, a promotion at work, negotiating your salary, coaching, side businesses, board service, freelance work.
I mean, that hustle culture, these side gigs, it's real deal because the cost of living has gone up exponentially. And yet we are still living to our paycheck.
Yes.
So, I think it's that gig society exists for a reason.
Yeah. Yeah. Women are often over optimizing expenses and underestimating their value.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that again. We're too deep in our expenses and forget about our value.
Mm-hmm.
So don't forget who you are and, what else can be done to level up the income.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've done a lot of unpacking there, okay? A lot of unraveling. Mm-hmm. We're now going to uplift because that's what we like to do.
Yeah.
So the midlife money reset, step 1, know your numbers, no judgment, just facts.
Step 2, increase retirement contributions by 1%, not 10%, just 1.
Step 3, open the account, even if it's only $50.
Yeah. So if you're going to start doing that investing, just put a little bit of money in and start playing with that and see where it goes. Step 4, use beginner-friendly tools. We touched on some of these last week. There is an app called Acorns.
Acorns is great.
Yep. So it rounds up your purchases and invests your spare change, the money that you're not really missing, right? And it's great for beginners.
Betterment. It's automated investing, goal-based planning, think GPS for investing.
Yep. Wealthfront. So this is hands-off investing, retirement and financial planning tools. Lots of great resources there.
Fidelity Investments. I use Fidelity. Mm-hmm. Great resource. Excellent educational resource, retirement and investment accounts.
Yep. And then another tried and true is Vanguard, long-term investing, low-cost index fund investing, and then built around consistency and compounding.
Step 5, read one money book. That can be The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel, I Will Teach You to Be Rich, Ramit Sethi, Well Endowed by Vivian Tu, Financial Feminist, Tori Dunlap, or Smart Women Finish Rich, David Bach.
And then step 6, create your rich life list that we talked about. If money wasn't the obstacle, I would do what? So that's what your list should be around.
I'm going to add, we are not experts, okay? Because we've just told you all these steps, okay? But we are not experts by any stretch of the imagination. These are just meant as tips and tricks and life hacks to hopefully help you around this tricky area.
It's just a place to get started, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Or have the conversations with your significant other about where you are financially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Remember, the goal isn't becoming perfect with money. It's the goal of becoming present with money.
Right. Because midlife is not about the chapter where you discover you're behind. It may be the chapter where you finally become intentional.
Yeah. This is such a heavy topic. It really is. Money makes the world go round. It also creates so much havoc and chaos and drama in people's lives.
And it's one of those things we were taught not to talk about, right?
Yeah.
Like you don't talk about how much money people make. You don't ask financial questions. Yeah. It's one of those off-topic conversations like with religion and politics and money. You don't talk about it. But we should talk about it in a way that lifts each other up within this community. Mm-hmm. And that's our goal, is to create awareness about money. Let's pull back that curtain. Let's talk about the resources and tools that are out there, whether it's books or apps that help you stop holding back and hiding from that fear or be intimidated by the money conversation and getting out there and educating yourself.
And any tips and tricks you might have as well,
Please share them. This is a community.
I think, the landscape in which we learned first about money in our early 20s has changed significantly. The world has changed exponentially. I realize this on so many factors, even education, you name it. Okay. So it's no different. The money landscape has changed an awful lot. Mm-hmm. It's hard to play catch up on that. Yeah. So use some of these hacks and each other to just get yourself to the point that, let's fast forward. Let's fast forward now. Yep. Thank you so much again for joining us for another episode of Unravel and Uplift. And thank you for being part of our Money Unraveled series.
Yes. And if today's conversation encouraged you, challenged you, helped you, or feel less alone within this space, we'd love for you to follow the podcast, share this episode with a friend, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. That helps us tremendously get our word out and create awareness.
Remember, you're not behind, you're not disqualified, you're not too old, and it's not too late.
Until next time, we'll continue to unravel life
And uplift each other through it.
Thanks.
Thank you.